All right, everyone, and welcome to the Daily Tech Show. I'm your host, John Myer, and before we get started, what is this show all about? I'd like to say it's for us geeks, but I think everybody's going to enjoy it. And we're going to bring you the latest tech news around public cloud from AWS, Azure, GCP, possibly others, and speaking with public cloud leaders while bringing you some fun, interesting, and entertaining value. But I'm sure most of you know that most of my news will be probably around AWS unless the others come up with something interesting. Typically, I have some tech news showing up, but this is a special edition with breaking exciting news. If you don't know already, I recently joined Spot by NetApp, and it's a huge opportunity for me to bring on a special guest and friend, Vice President and General Manager for Spot by NetApp, Amiram. You're going to want to stick around to hear about the new features and possibly some upcoming roadmap items. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Now, let's bring on Amiram to the show. Welcome, Amiram.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
You know what? So this is really super exciting and a special one for me. I have to tell you, in the past, we actually had a chance to do a recording together, I think last year while I was working at AWS. And shortly after that was the NetApp acquisition. So it's always a pleasure to get together, and I'm really excited to be part of an awesome company.
Yeah, likewise, John. We're super grateful to have you on the team. I think that AWS and Spot are sharing something very in common, which is our obsession for customers. So I think that you probably saw it, and you continue to see that how focused we are on customers and how we're focused we are on solving their problems and giving them phenomenal support. So really happy to have you, and we're here to tell some of our latest innovations. So I'm happy to do so with you.
You know what? I really appreciate you jumping on last minute and talking about really this past week has been super exciting for Spot. It was really tough for me to keep up with everything and all the recent news socially, but I tried. All right. We had the data mechanics acquisition, which we'll talk about. Spot joining the AWS CloudFormation Public Registry, the release of a new product called Ocean CD, and then we had Spotlight event, which was Spot's first user conference. A few weeks leading up to these events, you also released Eco for MSP, which I find really interesting. So, Amiram, some exciting stuff happening here at Spot.
Definitely, and I think innovation is part of just keeping up with customers' requests. I think this whole technology world, and especially how people are embracing and adopting cloud, as they're moving more applications and building more applications in the cloud, the amount of solutions that we are as their, I would say, technology partners need to keep up with is just outstanding, and we just need to keep up with innovation so we can continue to build a future with our customers. This is something that it's either we do it or we stay behind. So this is a must-have thing in order to keep up with customers' pace.
Something I noticed at Spot joining it is that really is the customer obsession and the speed of innovation that's happening. There's so much that is happening behind the scenes, and some of the things we're working on. I'm really excited about it. But before we get to some of those product releases, how about we talk about the recent acquisition of the French analytics firm Data Mechanics and what that means for Spot by NetApp?
So let me set the context for this. In the last few years, we've experienced tremendous growth, really tremendous growth with our containers platform that we call Ocean. We created an engine that customers can just deploy containers, and then we run the underlying infrastructure for them so they can just deploy containers, get optimized compute, optimized storage, optimized network, so they can just scale with how they run and orchestrate containers in any form. It can be Kubernetes, it can be ECS. And one of the things we learned is that the most popular workload was pretty much stateful web applications, things like microservices. That was very popular. But over time, we saw that not only customers want to run web applications, they also start run stateful applications, and not just stateful applications, just disk with a container. We're talking about stateful platforms. And when I say platform, I mean Apache Spark, I mean Kafka, I mean Elasticsearch. So things that requires a lot of storage, lots of state that needs to be orchestrated as part of this container vehicle called Kubernetes. So then when we saw what's the second biggest workload, we saw big data, machine learning, AI that is powered by Apache Spark. And we thought about how can we make it really easy for our customers to run Apache Spark on Kubernetes. So a few weeks ago, I think a few months ago maybe, we released a new capability in our products to run Apache Spark on Ocean, actually. And at the same time, pretty much, we introduced to a company called Data Mechanics. And when we talked to them, it was pretty outstanding because we heard them pitching us, and everything that they had in their presentation was exactly the roadmap we were about to execute. And the roadmap was, how do we go from helping customers get the infrastructure the Spark needs and get to the applications and jobs that runs on top of Kubernetes, on top of Spark. So that was a pretty no-brainer thing for us to do, and showing our commitment to our customers of how we're going to help them run their platforms on Kubernetes, not only their web applications on Kubernetes. And that's the context for everything Data Mechanics and Spot.
All right, so I just pieced some things together that you said you released the Spark services there with Ocean last week, and now the acquisition with Data Mechanics. I see how they all came together. That was a perfect timing there. You know, after you announced the acquisition this week, I took some time to read up on Data Mechanics, and I got to say, it looks like it's going to work really well with a product, Ocean. And I love the integration. I love the capability. Plus, we got to meet a great group of people within the company, and I'm glad we had the chance to meet them right before the announcement and not like kind of after, or just a kind of perfect timing of the announcement. So I really appreciate that, and I think it's going to help us all work well together.
Yeah, communication is very important on these things, especially as everyone is working remote. It's really hard to get around everyone's calendars and get perfect communication. I'm happy that we had a chance to announce it in our first user conference, announce it to our team, announce it together with them. So, but the real fun begins now because we need to execute together.
I don't see that as a problem with how well this company works and how well we work together, how well the teams are always looking to help and improve. I think it's just going to be, great things are going to happen between the two groups and how well we're just going to integrate with each other. So before we get to some of the recent product releases, I want to talk about the latest one that was released back in the beginning of May called Eco for MSP. And I think we need a little bit of background on what Eco is. And, I think MSPs will see the value of Eco for MSP.
Absolutely. So Eco, let's step back for a second. We know that pricing and managing strategy of pricing in the cloud is super important to how enterprises and organizations think about their cloud strategy. When they go and spend X amount of millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars a year or a month with cloud providers, they need to have a really good planning of what of their workload is going to be long-term, how long-term, what's going to be short-term, because this is going to dictate how they're going to buy it. They're going to buy it through commitment. They're going to buy it through different ways, like everything that you buy in life. And I think cloud infrastructure is going to be the second biggest expense in every organization today. So Eco is really to help enterprises to map all of their workloads, all of their infrastructure, and build with them the plan of how to commit and for how long in the most flexible way, so they can seize the biggest savings with the least amount of commitments. And if we want to take like an analogy, so when you go and invest in the public market, so you don't invest in a single stock. You usually invest in multiple stocks because this is how you diversify your investment. And that's exactly what Eco does with buying cloud commitments. It doesn't buy a single cloud commitment and capitalize on this. It buys a portfolio of cloud commitments and is able to maneuver between those portfolio items, so then the customer gets the maximum savings with the least amount of commitments. So that's Eco. Now, Eco for MSP, it's taking Eco to the next level. Because if you think about it, enterprises and small, medium businesses, they use cloud, they need to plan long-term. But there are people who need to plan long-term even more urgently than those guys, which are the people who run cloud for their customers, or MSPs. So Eco for MSP is a specialized version of Eco that can help MSPs to plan the future of their customers based on existing usage, and help MSPs really work around different commitments and around different usage patterns of their customers, and help them not only with this, but also with how they build them and how they charge them, how they apply discounts, and how they really look at enterprise billing. So we're super excited to get into this. Obviously, there is a lot of more to build in Eco for MSP, but that's the really basic fundamentals.
Prior to joining AWS, I worked for an MSP. So when I saw Eco for MSP, it kind of interests me because I learned a lot when I worked there. When I heard about Eco and its automation optimization for AWS savings plans, RIs, and how it automatically adjusts your portfolio by offloading those unused commitments with AI-driven procedures and procurement, really, it piqued my interest, because especially with savings plans. I remember when they came out a year ago, actually a year and a half ago, right before reInvent, right? They weren't that flexible. You couldn't move it from one account to the other like RIs. What Eco's doing with it and the automation behind it is awesome. Now you're providing like more account grouping for easier customer management, customized billing and rules, validation, invoice adjustments, and alignments, increasing profitability with AWS savings plans, RIs, spot instances, and I think it's risk-free, correct?
That's true. And the thing is, when we look at what Eco does, so every human being can do it, quote unquote. But no human being can do it at the speed of machine, of the speed of AI machine, that always look at the usage, always look at what available to purchase, and always look what really makes sense for that workload. Because if you have a workload that can use spot instances before our eyes, that's pretty much a better idea. So it's really exciting to see how this solution of portfolio of pricing that we're surrounding our customers with are really aligning with each other, and giving an end-to-end solution. And absolutely excited for the future of this. And I think this is just the beginning.
I agree with you. I like the product so much. To me, it's almost like a no-brainer on why you wouldn't utilize it, because of the cost savings that happens, the integration, the RIs, the commitments, just everything spreading out over a portfolio. I actually can't wait to talk more about this in depth. But if you want to find more about Eco and Eco for MSP, I'll drop the links below. Take a look there for maybe other Spot by NetApp product videos, including this one that I did with Ocean with some green screen effects. My first time doing it. I hope everybody enjoyed that. So, Amiram, moving on to the next announcement, which was with AWS shared on social media. But Spot by NetApp was a launch partner for AWS CloudFormation Public Registry. I stopped there and I was looking at this and really kind of digging into so much. First of all, launch partner, congratulations. That's an awesome accomplishment. Can you give us a little bit more information about it?
So first of all, that's another testimony for our really strong relationship with AWS. We're regularly invited to become a launch partner for various things that AWS is working on. And I think this is coming from the mutual, culture that we have around customers and customers first. So from here, I'm sending big thanks to all the teams at AWS that work side by side with us. In addition, CloudFormation, that's a very important investment for us at Spot. And I think in general, zooming out, CloudFormation infrastructure as code, automating and scripting how infrastructure is being provisioned, this is something that is more than important. And having us in the public registry of CloudFormation, so we're just like one click away from customers to deploy resources of Spot, which could be Elastic Group, could be EMR clusters as Spot manages, could be Ocean clusters. So being one click away from the AWS console for customers, this is, I think, the nirvana of where we wanted to see our integration with CloudFormation. So super excited about this and really thankful for the CloudFormation team about it.
I think I agree with you. First of all, this is a big thing. I think it's really cool addition because it shows how Spot is integrated with AWS CloudFormation. It provides better security, all right, no customization needed, and makes installation easy, which is what you're looking for. And I love that Spot was a launch partner. It really shows that commitment that not only Spot and AWS have to each other. If you want to take a look at Spot's blog post, I'll include that in the link below. Don't forget, if you really enjoy the content that I'm creating and some of the value that's provided, hit that like, subscribe, the whole deal. And now I'm going to cut back to around where we're going to talk about Spotlight. And before we talk about the latest, product release, we just wrapped up Spotlight, which was Spot's first user conference. Could you tell us about it and what was the reason behind this conference and creating it?
So I think we've grown into a place where we have a large community inside our customer base. And we really want to be relevant for this large community of customers. We are, as a company, we don't like to send marketing materials that just aim for marketing. We want to send customers educational content. We want to be in front of their thoughts. We want to build products with our customers in mind. We want real-time feedback, and we want very helpful and educational content to be delivered. So we thought about how can we deliver that? How can we create something that is a little bit more unique than other conferences? So we decided to go on a sponsor-free event, something that is completely focused on product roadmap, people who want to use our product, and we can solve real problems for them. So they can just come to one place called Spotlight and find everything they possibly can use for their day-to-day operation. So this is Spotlight. Super excited to launch it. A few thousands of registrations, amazing attendees of people watching the live stream. And I just want to thank the whole team who are involved in launching this and making this happen.
I have to tell you, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was put together well, informative, fun, energetic, really geared towards the user community. I like that it was not sponsored. It was educational. A lot of people don't want to see, like you said, that marketing that happens. They want to see hands-on education. How do you do things? And speaking of that, my colleagues and I had an awesome opportunity to put a few workshops on around Alaska Group and Ocean. I can see these actually growing into a big user conference that provides a lot of value for new or existing users of Spot. So, congrats to you and the whole team who pulled it off. I know it was a lot of work, and I'm proud to say I was part of the first user conference.
Absolutely. We're honored to have you there. Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to more of them, doing more of these events with customers, showcasing and hosting it, educational workshops, whatever it is. I love providing value and content, and Spot has an awesome product portfolio that I think is really cool to just play around with, and you can instantly see the cost savings around that. Now, I have to note that I just noticed your background of an Ocean, and what's interesting is I'd like to talk about Spot's latest product release on, around Ocean CD, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think that was the cherry on top of Spotlight. After announcing, talking about our continuous innovation, continuous phenomenal customer support, which we always want to improve, and announced the acquisition. Then we started to speak about what's next for Spot, where we're going, how we're taking optimization to the next level. And when we look at the people we work with on a day-to-day basis, which are developers, DevOps engineers, architects, people who really care about how they build and deploy software. When we look at their challenges, so beyond cost, one of the biggest challenges that we identify is how do they ship their software to production. This is one of the most critical aspects of every developer and DevOps roles that they need to take care of, because this is something that we do multiple times a day, sometimes multiple times an hour. And this thing of shipping software to production, this is a real differentiation for companies to have, because companies who can deploy code faster and with more confidence are companies that are moving way faster, and they have much better metrics than the ones who don't. And that's why we really focused in the last year on building a solution around shipping applications to production through our own umbrella of containers product that we call Ocean. And I was very excited to launch Ocean CD, Ocean Continuous Delivery, on that event that basically provides customers a fully managed end-to-end continuous delivery service inside Kubernetes. And I think this is the most important thing here because there are lots of tools of continuous delivery. But what we did here was a radical focus on working with all the Kubernetes primitives so customers can still use whatever tools they have for CI, whatever tools they have for application deployment, and then just integrate with that and automatically take that, understand the deployment is happening, and then take the lead. When I say take the lead, we do two really important things. One is we execute the deployment strategy. So we understand the deployment is happening, and then we, by definition of the customer, we do a canary or a blue-green, which means I want to deploy one, then two, then three, then the rest. Or I want to deploy one new with one old, then two new with two old. This is blue-green. So we've implemented out of the box all these strategies of deployment of new software to production. And then we combined it with the latest technology that's called continuous verification. So whenever you deploy an application, the most important part is to verify that you're not hurting your existing application metrics. This could be your request per second. This could be your latency. This could be your average response time. This could be a lot of things. Can mean a lot of things to different applications. So what we do as we deploy and execute the deployment strategy, we are actually querying metrics in real time from, it could be any metric source from Grafana, Prometheus, Datadog, New Relic, AppDynamics, you name it. We query the metrics that are relevant for this application and we deploy based on the fact that the metric is always meeting the standards of the healthiness that the customer defined.
Wow.
And this, if you think about it, just giving customers the confidence to deploy and deploy and deploy and be hands-off because they know that it's going to be okay. And this is the very first steps of Ocean CD. I cannot be more excited to get into a new space, and especially into application delivery space. And this is something that people are going to hear a lot of from us.
So the speed of delivery has definitely changed and evolved here with Ocean CD. And it's interesting how Spot Ocean is evolving into a suite of DevOps solutions. And if you're familiar with the infamous infinity symbol for CI/CD, Spot has extended that symbol to where Ocean handles the continuous optimization of your Kubernetes environment. But with Ocean CD, we are literally shifting left into continuous delivery portion. Wouldn't you agree?
I absolutely agree. And I would say that the most amazing thing here that on the same time we're shifting left, but also shifting right, because this brings going back and going to the CD, but also adding operational capabilities of this continuous verification that is also on the operation side. So bringing shift left and shift right together in the same product, this is something that was probably wasn't there before, and we're super excited to provide it.
So I read a little bit more about it when the release happened, and it said shift left and shift right at the same time. Your shift right is you have your optimization as well as your, now you have your continuous delivery. This is really awesome. I have to tell you, I like the tagline, one spot for Kubernetes application delivery and cloud ops. I'm not sure if the spot was purposely put in there, but it was strategically put in there. It was really interesting.
Yeah, it's all credit goes to John Bach.
All right, well, you know what, John, we're going to tag you on this video and give you some credit there. Don't worry, you get a chance to review the video as well when I post it out. The benefits of Ocean CD is delivering Kubernetes applications 10 times faster with the confidence of removing those custom or manual scripts with a verified automation and one fully managed solution. I think I said it all just in that sentence. I mean, just the sounds of the benefits alone.
Couldn't phrase it better. Couldn't phrase it better, John. What a packed week. I'm super pumped and excited for our teams that we were able to create a formation of everything together this week. And yeah, really enjoyed this session. We should do it more often.
I am available anytime you are. I love making this content. I love providing value to the users and telling them what's happening, all the exciting things. During I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday, I woke up and I'm like, you know what? I want to do an interview style. And I want to, all this week was so packed with exciting news. I could not capture it in one single post. And it's really exciting that we're able to share it in the video alone. I enjoy doing these. You let me know. I'll reach out to you. We will make even some quick ones. We'll talk about a recent release, whatever it is. I enjoy bringing some value and some visibility, not only to Spot, but their awesome products.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And It was amazing to be here.
You know what, Amiram, thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining me for this chat, all about the latest and awesome news from Spot by NetApp. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe for when we release more content. Amiram, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, John.